Welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over an article titled The Lie of Hypergamy and How It Hurts Women. And guys, this article is obviously written by a woman, and throughout this article, she's going to go into this whole thing about how basically hypergamy is BS, that women shouldn't have to aspire to get the right type of guy to have things in life, that women shouldn't have to change themselves in any way, shape, or form to get a guy. They are good enough as is, whether it means overweight or just any number of things that, let's just say, are not exactly desirable towards guys, right? Also, I might add, she definitely makes a point to take jabs at popular YouTube content creators like Kevin Samuels, who talks about these things. How basically women obviously need to do certain things to attract a certain type of guy, and they're deluding themselves otherwise, right? So there's a whole lot going on here. And what I find very interesting is that pretty much there's never a shortage of things that women can tell guys to do to improve themselves. Okay, we all know this, all right? Guys need to do this and this and this and this, a whole laundry list. But God forbid a guy ever suggests that women or a woman does anything to improve themselves. We're the bad guy. How dare us? Right? No joke. So they can have, it's acceptable for women to have these very high standards, which I might add are often extremely, just absolutely ridiculous, and are deluding themselves to think they are entitled to that type of guy because, you know, the old joke about the women want a guy that makes six-figure income plus, 6 feet tall, six-pack, 6 inches down south or more, at least. You know, good luck in the terms of percentages of finding a guy like that. But that doesn't change that deluded mindset. And also, I might add, how many women you got walking around out there that are just average, but they still feel entitled to a top status guy, right? But again, God forbid a guy says, these are things you got to do to improve yourself to help your game or things like that, and we're the bad guy. It's nuts. But anyhow, guys, enough of the intro. I'm going to go into this more, and you're going to see more I'm talking about here. But just, this is the mindset in today's world. So it starts off, divine feminine is toxic. So already she's trashing femininity, women actually being feminine. Hypergamy tells women to embrace a soft nature. They tell women not to talk too much, not to cater to a man's ego, to level up, and to use their pretty privilege as a means to an end. The end being to bag a wealthy man or high-value man, as they prefer to call it. While I'm not against women taking care of themselves, looking nice, and if they choose, looking for a way to level up their look, there's something about this philosophy that doesn't sit well with me. Well, to no surprise, I'm not surprised, and again in today's world, thanks to the feminist movement, which pretty much is telling women that they don't need to do these things, they don't need to be feminine, they don't need to take care of themselves, that they're good as is. I mean, the whole body positivity movement, you know, which basically have these obese hippopotamus women walking around saying, you know, I love myself and you should love yourself as is, even though you are 400 pounds and you are a walking health emergency. That's today's world. She says, I remember the first time I stumbled upon a popular YouTuber who goes by the name of Kevin Samuels. I think a few of you guys have heard of him. I was on YouTube scrolling mindlessly through my homepage, and I saw his channel. This particular video that YouTube suggested to me from Samuels was on how modern women need to be more classy. I was curious to see how that played out from a man's perspective. Well, we all know darn well women need to be more classy, because you go out anywhere, guys, and you look around and just, you see women nowadays, and it isn't just like college kids, teens, they dress like crap. They let themselves go. I mean, it's unbelievable, you know. And don't get me wrong, guys do it too. I mean, I live in an area that has a college nearby. There's lots of college kids there between late August and May, June, and they're always at the restaurants and the bars and all that. And they just go out dressing like complete crap. And that's just on the outside. There's also behavior. Goodbye, classy, right? And again, right here, you're going to see what this is leading into. He's the bad guy. Kevin Samuels is the bad guy for saying women need to be more classy. This is her telling the story. I'm quoting her here. When, guess what? How many times our guys are being told to do this, right? And he's the bad guy for saying that. She says, to cut the long story short, I quickly found out he is among the lead voices in the hypergamy movement. Samuels tells women that unless they are 5'9", a size 6, an 8 and a 10 on the pretty scale, and below 30, they don't deserve to marry a high-quality man. So, number one, guarantee she's exaggerating some elements of this. But basically, yeah, he's saying, look, women need to take care of themselves. They need to take care of themselves physically. And I've been saying that since day one, and plenty of other guys say the same thing. But in her mind, to get a high-quality guy, women shouldn't have to do all those things. That's beneath women in today's world, okay? He should love her for who she is. He should value her as a person for who she is. It doesn't make a difference what she looks like on the outside. And that's just not true, okay? Yes, it's great. A woman may have all these great qualities of her personality and intelligence, and she's cool and loyal and all that. That's great, okay? That's a good thing to have. But if she doesn't meet our minimum standards in the looks department, she's got no chance, okay? And the more a guy is high value, high status, whatever you want to call it, in terms of his income, how much wealth he has, how he is in terms of how he takes care of himself, his body, all those different things, and I might add his popularity among the opposite sex, how he is with women, his SMV. Why is he going to get involved with or give a shot to a girl that doesn't take care of herself, who's overweight, has short green hair, bossy, is an effeminist, versus a younger, prettier girl that takes care of herself, that she's sexy, she's feminine, she's girly, she doesn't have a big mouth, she's not one of these big mouth effeminists? Who do you think that guy's going to pick, right? But again, an example that in today's world, it's so unpopular, God forbid that a guy actually wants that. And God forbid we say it. But again, it's okay for women to have a laundry list of things that men should improve about themselves, and their high standards. We can't have high standards, but they can. It's bullshit. She goes on, in other words, if you aren't drop dead gorgeous and of high value according to the gospel of Kevin Samuels, you are screwed and will die alone. Yikes. Well, here's yet another woman that hates old Kevin. On the surface, proponents of hypergamy promote a glorious lifestyle. They tell women that all they need to do is invest in their looks and they will have a high-value man of their dreams. Many women buy into this but fail to see the potential dangers, which I will highlight below. Well, yes. A woman, if she goes to the gym and she works out and gets her body in good shape and she eats healthy and she keeps herself thin, she doesn't need to look like a Victoria's Secret model, but if she is thin, toned, okay, and she obviously takes care of her skin, grows her hair long, she wears some makeup, not too much, let's not get carried away, but some makeup, dresses sexy, she acts feminine, she's going to get guys, guaranteed. And the more she's like that, the more she's going to attract guys with higher value, higher status guys. That's just how it is, okay? And these women don't want to hear this. It goes against the whole effeminist attitude of today's world. Right? Now, does that mean that your average gal, she starts working out at the gym and she improves herself, she's going to get herself a billionaire or a multimillionaire with a yacht or whatever the hell it is? No. But she's going to have, the odds are going to increase dramatically and more guys are going to be attracted to her. But women that aren't women that are challenged in the looks department or feel they shouldn't have to do these things, hate on those type of women because they are doing the things that they deep down know they need to do but don't want to do, right? And they hate on guys for being attracted to those types. Now let's go into all her reasons why this is obviously damaging and negative and all that bunch of bullshit. She says, number one, it tells women they have to fit a specific mold to find a quality man. Define quality man. In most femininity or hypergamy videos that you find on YouTube, women are told to level up their look. Oh, so guys aren't told to improve themselves too? Come on here. In other words, we are told to wear dresses, put false lashes on, wear designer clothes, expensive wigs, expensive weaves, go on a diet to be certain weight. Oh, and let's not forget, make sure you aren't 30 or you don't stand a chance of true happiness. Look, here's the deal. A woman that is average, and she has average looks, average body, doesn't go out of her way to take care of herself, she can get guys, but she's going to get average guys. Okay? But we all know in today's world, thanks to social media, all the attention that women get on social media and dating apps, and of course the feminist movement telling women they deserve everything under the sun, the average ones still think they're entitled to the top guys. I've known women that are not at all good looking, but they still think they got it. Maybe when they were younger, they looked better and got attention from guys. They still think they got it and are entitled to this and are critical of guys. It's unbelievable. So yes, you want higher guys, you got to take care of yourself. Deal with it. She goes on. The movement focuses on one way a woman should be, but it forgets that women come in all sorts of shapes and sizes with different tastes, styles, and preferences. Well, yeah, everybody's a little different, Black hair, blonde hair, red hair, bigger boobs, smaller boobs, bigger ass, smaller ass, some curves, no curves, but still being thin and being healthy. Let me rephrase that. Being thin and taking care of yourself, being pretty, and obviously being healthy with food and all that. But short, tall. But the point is, they take care of themselves. They are not overweight, okay? There are some guys that like big girls, but by and large, guys at best with like some curves, but that's about it. They don't want what you see today, these very overweight women, these land whales, as many people call them. But you got people like this that feel like they shouldn't have to do anything. And that, God forbid, we bring it up, it's a bad thing. She says, some women don't like to wear makeup and would rather go barefaced. Some prefer jeans to dresses, and not all are a size 6. What this does is that women are subtly told to fake it until they make it, just so they can get a man with no regard for if we are true being ourselves or not. Well, you know what? Here's the deal. Here's my message to women of today's world. If you feel that you shouldn't have to take care of yourself, that you shouldn't have to work out, that you shouldn't have to watch your diet, that you shouldn't have to put some makeup on, you shouldn't basically have to be feminine, okay, it's your life. You have the freedom to do so. But don't complain when you have very limited options with men. Don't complain that you're alone, no guy wants you. And don't go hating on other women that take action and to keep themselves looking good and healthy and fit and all that. Don't hate on them, and certainly don't hate on guys for not being interested in you. And don't hate on guys and saying that we're shallow and superficial and all that because you chose not to take action, okay? It's on you. Far too many times, men are made out to be the bad guy. When, guess what? Again, we're the bad guy about the whole looks department. But again, what psychotically high standards do women have? The giant, never-ending laundry list of things that guys have to be to make them happy, right? To be perceived as a catch, right? They never have a problem telling us all these things that we need to do to improve ourselves. But again, God forbid, we go to the gym, wear some makeup, we're the root of all evil. Goes on, in other words, hypergamy leaves no room for individuality. That's bullshit. You either get in line or you lose. Clearly, she's been having some trouble in the department with guys. As Jennifer Wright rightfully pointed out in her article for Harper's Bazaar, when criticizing William Hanson's article for telling women to go on a diet to marry up, she had this to say. You're going to age anyway. You'd be stuck basing your marriage on an asset that no human in the world can maintain. It would be more effective to base your choice on a mate on their appreciation of literally any of the qualities you possess, no matter how old. A love for early Guns N' Roses, an inexplicable affection for Ayn Rand, the fact that you hate parks. Those qualities have at least a little bit of staying power. Translation, okay, people are going to get old, so looks are going to fade, but the person's personality is going to stay eternal. And don't get me wrong, it's great to have, for those you do dating and relationships, to be with someone that you have a lot in common with, that you click with and all that. And if that's someone you choose to stay with, let alone, God forbid, get married to, those traits are going to be everlasting. But the looks are going to fade. Well, here's the deal. Yes, over time, people's looks are going to fade. That is true. But you see, you ever notice, recently I saw an article that showed the popular Sports Illustrated swimsuit models of the 80s, what they look like today. And yes, of course, they've aged. Yes, of course, they don't look anything close to the day in their prime and their swimsuit centerfold days. But let me tell you, a lot of them, for their age, in their 50s and 60s, look good. For their age. Let me just emphasize that. So, but a lot of women just throw their hands up in the air and give up, okay? So, for every age, action can be taken to look the best you can be, the best you can be. Everybody should be striving to be the best they can be. Obviously there are limitations as you get older and nature's going to take its course, but come on here. Anyway, she goes on, This strong emphasis on a woman's look, weight, and height as the value that she can offer or be accepted to a man forgets that looks fade. And if marriage or relationships are based on that, then as Jennifer said, it will not have staying power. That doesn't mean you need to sit on your ass on the couch watching, Floribama Shore and eating crap and not taking care of yourself because, well, I'm going to get old anyway, so, it's my personality that makes me attractive. No, you can constantly do things to help take care of yourself physically, just as guys can always do things to improve themselves as well. I'm not just on here telling women to do things to keep themselves looking good and improve themselves. I tell guys all the time to do things to improve themselves. That's what my whole channel's about, okay? Guys that have been watching me for a while know very well this, okay? I don't let guys off the hook on this. Number 2, it places the value of a man on his pay grade and a woman on her looks. Duh. What planet has she been living on where, their value, the woman's looks, man's pay, okay? It really is true. We're success objects, and they are, let's be honest here, sex objects. Nobody wants to hear it on this sensitive, woke, politically correct, pain-in-the-ass world we're living in right now, but it's the fucking truth. It says the foundational rule of hypergamy is that women need to bring their looks to the table, and men need to bring their money, period. Duh. The proponents of this movement tell women that a high-value man is one who earns a lot of money, 6 figures and above, and can provide. A man who provides is a good thing, but they don't list out the most important qualities of a man. And listen to this. She says, the true value of a man is his integrity, patience, kindness, willingness to support you, listen to you, and care for you, regardless of what he earns. Yeah, sure. These qualities she mentioned here, they are great qualities, okay? I agree they're great qualities, but if he isn't making much money, if he's working at Taco Bell at the register, or he's working over at Dollar Tree and not making a whole lot of money, and no offense to people working at Taco Bell or Dollar Tree, it doesn't make a difference how great his integrity is, his kindness, his willingness to listen to you and support you is. He's done, okay? I don't hear any women going around saying they want that if the guy doesn't make a certain income. So come on here, lady. Yes, it is about money and resources. She says it is not enough to marry a rich man, but to marry a man that values what is important. Those are all great as long as he has money coming in. A source for an article for NBC News, who is a psychotherapist specializing in relationships, gave insight into the tendency for extreme rich people to not value family life and relationships because, as she said, this is her quote, although personality traits and challenges cross all socioeconomic barriers, I do see lower levels of wise reasoning style in the upper class and super wealthy population. The reason for this can be attributed to a particular type of narcissism in the stratospherically rich who care more about achievements, status, and how they are viewed by others rather than relationship and family. Well, there's definitely a lot of that stereotype is definitely on the money. I've known some very wealthy families in my life, in my travels, and let me tell you, some of them literally, they are just unbelievably cold and unfriendly, and just, that's the stereotype, and there's a lot of truth to that. And I've known families that barely had 2 nickels to rub together, and they were the kindest, most warm people that would give you the shirt off their back, even though they couldn't afford to give you the shirt off their back. It is true. But it doesn't mean they're all like this. And yeah, people of wealth and success, great wealth and success, they are big on achievements because that's how they got where they are. It goes on, while I will not stereotype every rich person as people who care more for achievements than relationships, it is also true that the more money one makes, the less time they have for things other than their career. You mean driven people? People that are extremely successful, yeah, their career, their purpose, that becomes number 1 to them, which I encourage all you guys to do. You don't make women your purpose, guys. That is the classic mistake that so many guys do. You make your ambitions and goals, whether it be your business that you started or getting that business started, rising in your company, whatever it is, to do well for yourself, okay? Because at the end of the day, that's what makes a man, his drive, his ambitions. That's masculine energy, conquering. Really, it's the truth. It says hypergamy sells a dream of luxury but doesn't prepare women for the possible consequences of the lifestyle that comes with it. A high-value man may have money but no time to give. A man doesn't need he doesn't have time to give. That's when oftentimes these women go for these beta male provider guys, and he doesn't have time to give. Well, she's off with Chad and Tyrone. A man doesn't need 6 figures to be deemed high value. I beg to differ in today's world. Ask any girl in her 20s. that's good looking about that, I'm sure they would beg to differ. Rather, a man who loves, cherishes, and respects his woman and family and would willingly lay down his life for them is what I consider to be high value. Again, those are great traits, but if he doesn't make a certain level of money, he's shit out of luck. Number 3, women are told to be truly feminine. They have to prefer being a stay-at-home mom over having a career. This is a flawed belief system. A woman who works and a man who is a stay-at-home mom are both feminine. There shouldn't be a polarization of the word feminine. Well, the thing is, women that are really high achievers and have high status in their companies, a lot of them are very masculine women, or at least they have very masculine traits. And they do that to obviously get where they are, but they can't switch it off. Okay, they can't come home and switch it off. And that's the problem. That's why a lot of guys prefer the stay-at-home mom and all that, because she's not there conquering, so to speak, the way a guy is, okay? Masculine men are turned off by masculine women. The only type of guys that are attracted to masculine women are feminine guys. And these are the guys that oftentimes have very domineering, take charge mothers, and that's just what they're used to. End of story. And I'm sure plenty of you guys can go out and look around or know people, friends or family, and see women that are definitely more embracing their masculine side, more ball busting and all that. And the guys that they are married to or relationships with are definitely more feminine guys, because number 1, that's the only type of guys those type of women can get, even if they're good looking. And 2, those guys, that's what they're attracted to, because they're conditioned to be, that's what they're conditioned to have in terms of women, because that's what their dad was like. That's what their mom was like. Grandma, auntie, sister, you name it. I know plenty. She says, who made these rules anyway? This movement glorifies one lifestyle choice above the other. They insinuate that men don't care about a woman's career, but only if she can be a submissive wife and give him children while supporting his dreams. There are plenty of guys out there that are like that, I admit that, but there are plenty of guys that really admire a woman that is successful and does well for herself. Okay? I admire women that work hard and are successful, but they don't want some ball-busting, bossy-ass, effing type of woman. Okay? If she needs to do what she's got to do to be successful in her career, fine. But she switches it off when she's with the guy. Okay? And I know women that are very successful, make a hell of a lot of money, do well, but they can switch it off. Okay? If they can do it, the other types can do it. But that's why a lot of guys don't want those types, because they've seen plenty there of these ball busters. And again, no masculine man wants to be with a masculine woman. It's like having 2 dudes in a relationship, 2 dudes on a date. Total turnoff. It goes on, this advice can quickly become harmful, and women who have aspirations other than being a stay-at-home mom may internalize that to be deemed worthy of a feminine trait, a feminine title. They have to let go of their dreams to fulfill a man's dream. To further debunk that myth, I did a poll on Twitter where I asked the men of my timeline their preferences. Would they rather a wife stayed at home or a woman that had a career if they made 6 figures? 66.7% said they wanted a woman who had a career, against 33% who said they prefer a stay-at-home mom. Well, I have to question her polling data, okay? She said this, she put this on Twitter. How many people actually follow her on Twitter? How many guys follow her on Twitter? How many of those guys actually responded? Are these friends? Because generally if they're guy friends, and she's obviously a more masculine woman, they're probably going to respond in a way that she wants to hear, or they're going to respond in a way that, because probably, obviously she's a woman who's more in touch with their masculine side, they're probably more feminine guys are going to respond a certain way. So unless a poll is really has very large numbers across a broad spectrum of guys from different backgrounds, on the socioeconomic scale, the whole thing, like education, religion, color, all that stuff, I don't want to hear about her little poll here on Twitter here. And of course, you know, she's going to pick something that's going to back up her own conclusions here. Says this poll just shows that not every man deems femininity as one or the other. Most importantly, neither should women. You can be anything you want to be. Well, you know what? You can be what you want to be, but don't complain if you decide to embrace your masculine side and not take care of yourself physically and all that, and you can't get a man. Don't complain. Do what you want to do, but don't complain. But if you want to get a guy, you got to play ball, okay? Just as the way a guy, if he wants to attract women, especially certain types of women, he's got to play ball too, and get off his ass, do well for himself, make money, and make himself high value in many other areas. It is what it is. Number 4, hypergamy promotes a patriarchal system. Well, I was waiting for the P word to come about. According to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, hypergamy is marriage into an equal or higher caste or social group. This has long been practiced throughout different times and cultures where women seek more affluent partners. It made sense then because not until the 1970s, women in the West were still economically disadvantaged, and marrying up was a sure way to have a secure future. Not to talk of developing and underdeveloping countries where women still have low economic advantages. I grew up in a culture where I was told to marry up. This was because in my culture, a woman wasn't encouraged to have a career. We could have just enough education, but then upon graduation, marriage and having children should be our sole focus. Well, it's a different time. But you know what? Look at how things are today. Look at the divorce rate today. Look at the less and less people getting married. The numbers speak for themselves. The people getting less and less married, the birth rates have been taking a nosedive. Okay? And a lot of governments and scientists are scared shitless over this, especially economists, and how it's going to affect the economy and all that. Is it any wonder? What's also been going on since this time period she talked about? Feminism. I said the F word, and look what that has done. She says, men had all the power. We could dream, but not too much. Our place is ultimately at home, under the protection of our husbands. I've seen firsthand the consequences when women are fully dependent on a man. One possible disadvantage is the woman feels stuck and finds it harder to leave if her husband isn't treating her fairly in marriage. Well, I don't want anybody being stuck in a situation where they're being mistreated. I don't care who it is. But that, what she's talking about, led to obviously no-fault divorce laws in different states. And how well has that worked out, right? Where basically a guy can do everything right, but she can still go cheat on him and sleep with his brother and every guy in town and still walk away and get half. And the alimony and all and a big chunk of the assets, the house, the car, the kids, all that. So I don't want to hear how, it's her being stuck in a marriage and it's hard. Okay, look what's happened because of that. It's got the pendulum swung way too far. Many women where I'm from stay in bad situations because of how dependent they are on their spouses for their daily bread. The advocates of hypergamy forget to add the cons of giving up your dreams for your spouse and the challenges a woman could potentially face if she's solely dependent on a man. Well, again, in today's world, women can do extremely well for themselves. So, okay. But don't complain if by you doing that and you're embracing your masculine side, not taking care of yourself, you can't get a guy. Okay? There are options. You can do the traditional route or you can do the modern route. But there are options there. If a woman decides to be a stay-at-home mom and depending on her husband to provide, that is awesome and nothing to be ashamed of. Well, she says that, but her actions through everything else she's saying, I don't think she means that. However, every choice has potential consequences. The hypergamist movement isn't truthful about what those consequences are, but only seeks to glamorize it above every other path a woman may choose to take. Number 5, it sells the false dreams and sets unrealistic standards for women. Sorry to burst your bubble, but these videos encouraging women to go for six-figure earning men are selling pipe dreams. It is unrealistic for everyone to believe that just because she fits the feminine mold, she will automatically bag a wealthy man. Well, she's not totally wrong there because there's only a small percentage of guys that are all the whole six-figure, 6 feet tall, all that, all the sixes, And again, obviously a very successful guy in terms of income, again, small percentage. So mathematically, it's impossible for all the pretty girls to get that guy or that small percentage of guys. So that is true. But still, guys got to do well financially to get women, and women got to take care of themselves to get guys, or at least hire guys. Deal with it, lady. She says, the reality is men who earn 6 figures and above are in a minority. With a plethora of women vying for their attention, in that setting, men have the upper hand and there are no guarantees. Men do have the upper hand in that area. If you do well for yourself, you make a lot of money, 6 figures and higher in the 6 figures, and you take care of your body and you got some personality and some confidence and you got some game and all those other things, and you are now in your 30s and 40s, a man's prime, I might add, sky's the limit. If you want to date and hook up and all that, you got it made, okay? Unless you have no personality and are total being a beta male provider, but if you actually have personality and you get women and you get these things, you can do very well. Goes on. Women shouldn't limit their preferences to a six-figure income earner. If you do that, you may miss out on a good man who may earn less but could be a better match for you. Back when women mostly stayed at home, not every woman had a husband who earned six figures, but even with his average or above average income, they were still able to make do with what they had and live decently. Yeah, well, in today's world, women do not want to just make do and get by. They want the stars, and that's what's being promoted all the time on television and media and all that. So if you don't need to marry a six-figure income earner if you want to be a stay-at-home mom or provide how feminine you are. What you need is a hard worker and a man who puts his family first, period. Marrying up doesn't guarantee happiness. It doesn't guarantee love and faithfulness. Don't be deceived. And in closing words, because I know this video is getting pretty long here, guys, when all is said and done, a woman has a choice, and if she chooses to be hypergamous, it is valid. However, women shouldn't be made to feel like their lives or potential for a good partner are limited to these stringent rules. I also think it's an insult to say that all men want and care about once they get a certain pay grade. It is a woman that will be the arm candy, the trophy wife. Even if there are men who want that permit me to ask, why should women aspire to that? You are more than what you look like. In 2021, we want men that love us wholly and not for our looks alone. Well, you got to take care of yourselves. You want these guys. End of story. I've said it before. So next time you see an influencer, she's really butthurt and pissed off about Kevin Samuels and other YouTube guys talking about these things. So next time you see an influencer telling you to change who you are or suggesting you need to level up, love yourself enough to scroll past the video, that post or video, knowing you are whole and beautiful in and out. You're right where you're supposed to be, and the man of your dreams will be whoever you see him to be. It is your life, and you call the shots. Well, you can do whatever you want with your life, but and not take any action, not improve yourself, not take care of your bodies, take care of your health and all that. Look good, keep yourself looking sexy and feminine. You don't have to do that, but don't complain. You can't get a guy. Don't complain. Don't make men be the bad guy because they don't choose you. On the other hand, you take action, work out in the gym, take care of your bodies, do all these things I talked about. Then it's a different ballgame. But it goes to show you guys, once again, another woman that's pissed off that, God forbid, guys are saying they need to actually take action. And she's bitter, and I guarantee she's been passed over a lot and probably hit the wall. Anyhow, guys, video's gone on long enough. So that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.